talk about
talk
Planet of the
about
Sharks.
an absolutely phenomenal concept of a movie.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. Planet of the Sharks is an Asylum mockbuster. And when you watch it, you're like, this is Waterworld. You said this. This is Waterworld. It's basically the apocalypse has happened. Where did I put it? The carbon dioxide got in the air, CO2 got in the air, it melted ice caps, caused oceans to rise, and sharks took over the world. And people live on these little.
The sharks didn't take over the world. It's that the whole world got flooded, and now the sharks are taking over the world.
And so they're all floating on the thing, and so it looks like Waterworld. But apparently, it's a mockbuster of War of the Planet of the Apes. It came out with War of the Planet of the Apes, but I don't think anyone's going to look at. Usually when you go to like Redbox, you go, oh, look, Atlantic Rim. We like that in theaters, and you watch it and you go, wait a second, oh, that was Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
No one's going to go, oh, War of the Planet of the Apes. I love that in theaters. Let's get Planet of the Sharks.
Yeah,
no one's going to make that confusion. Not even the cover. Like, there's nothing.
But they're shark movies, so
yes, it does do that. And this is known as in Germany anyway. They play it as one of their worst films of all time in the festival. It's a film that is basically Waterworld with sharks attacking people.
Which, knowing some of the movies that have come out of Germany, I don't think that they have the right to judge. Looking at you people.
Hey, he came back. He unretired. His restaurant in Seattle closed, and he is unretired.
I heard you told me. I'm not.
He was making movies again. But okay, so let's talk about this. So this movie starts off with.
Did you have that on your 2023 Apocalypse Bingo card?
Yeah.
People comes out of retirement.
So this movie starts off with like a choral music piece. I will say, at least there's music in this one that someone was proud of because it's really loud to start with. Like really loud. Sure. And there's this floating city where everyone's looking like they're in the desert. Not really the type of clothes you'd wear in a human environment, but regardless, whatever. And then sharks just start jumping out of nowhere, attacking people. And these are very articulated sharks where like they just like can nose you to death. Like there's like a girl inside a boat and a shark goes through the bottom and like she's dead even though his mouth isn't open. It's just kind of like nosed. And these people who are apparently living on the water for a while, they're like trying to fight with like little spiky maces. And if you're living on the water, you are definitely going to be better prepared to fight the wildlife than that. But and some of these people like just getting like split in half.
They're referred to as a junk city, which means that they like float around and they are like scavengers, which means they should be better prepared to fight the wildlife because that's their lifestyle.
And they've said later on in the movie, you kill sharks to get oil. That's how they get some of their oil. So it's not like you don't kill sharks. And apparently sharks can crash into gas tanks and they explode.
At least twice in this movie, sharks caused something to explode with no real good explanation.
So, okay, it took me a while. This is something they said a lot, though. When I was watching it, I could never see it. But apparently there's a ton of sharks, like 400 sharks, following a mega shark.
Yeah, single mega shark that they show a couple of times. It's got like these weird blue glowy things on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can't really tell it's a mega shark and like when they're talking about it the first many times, they just don't have the budget to show it. And these sharks do look like Sharknado sharks, like not the remastered one they just did, but like Sharknado sharks, just as articulate, minus the one that swallows the guy at the end and he cuts out with a chainsaw. That's a considerably better effect than this movie has.
Yes.
But these sharks, I will say this, the greatest shark kill in this movie is when I would say this, guys, the plot in this movie does not matter. I don't care.
We're talking about the accent?
No. The greatest shark kill is when two characters are fist fighting on a boat for a reason, and I have no idea why the heck they're fist fighting on a boat. And he sticks his head over the side, and a shark just comes from the side and bites off the head cleanly. Like, doesn't stop moving. It's not like from the outside. It's not like this. It's like this, and the head just comes off cleanly into the shark.
It's like the classic scene in so many action films where people are fighting on top of a train and the hero sees that the tunnel's coming and he rolls over and shoves the guy up and the tunnel rips the dude's head off, but with a shark instead of a tunnel.
Like, these shark faces are just really sharp. And okay, so
okay, so
there's a technology people that are trying to launch a rocket to clean the Earth, but they also have a super weapon.
You're jumping way ahead.
No, that's like back to the beginning.
So the sharks are attacking the junk city, and
kills everyone except one person.
The dad hides his daughter in a barrel that he doesn't seal or anything. He just gets her inside the barrel, and the sharks are smart enough to like find people on top of the flotillas, to find them in the boats, to blow up things, but somehow they miss the one barrel that has this little girl in it. But they had enough time to fire off a single flare, which now has informed everybody that something happened at Junk City.
And this is after people are trying to contact Junk City and they get nothing. And then when they throw off a flare, the first thing they do is complain about shooting a flare and wasting a flare, as if they clearly do not know that they can't do it. And I'll say the first time I watched that scene, I couldn't hear the talking. And so I just thought it was loud music, and a guy was hitting the alarm, and it was just all silent because it all sounded terrible. So just loud music as all these people died to choral music because one of the audio sides was not playing on Roku, and so it was just loud soundtrack and no other noise, nothing. I was like, well, this is like, did they get bad audio the whole time? They could have. It is the Asylum.
But actually, the audio was not bad for this film. It was fairly all right. There was no horrible ADR, no horrible sound.
There was no AC next to the microphone.
Yeah, there was. It was as far as Asylum goes, this was gold standard for audio for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Jeremiah was saying, right? So we get that opening, and then we get to the scientists. So go ahead, Jeremiah.
So so there's multiple cities. One of them is like the main hub, I guess, where resources are. One is a science base.
We have three that we see. We see the junk city
sanctuary. Yeah.
Yeah. We see the junk city gets destroyed. We see the inside of the Science Institute, but they never show the outside.
Which is apparently the safest place there because it survived the floods or something.
Yeah. And then we get Salvation, which is like the main city in this post-apocalypse.
So
but back to
Science. They hear that that junk city's disappeared, so they send a plane, a helicopter, or plane, and a boat to go check on it. And they find the person there, and they take her back to the science base. And the science base says we need to go to this other one because they're picking up materials there to finish our rocket. One rocket because they don't have enough. They just apparently took materials from everything else to make the one instead of the two, so they have no test. They can't test it. So then they go to this other city with a woman with an atrocious accent.
If it's sharks, my guys can handle that. Bring it on. We haul dozens of them out of sea every day. Where do you think we get the oil for our lamps?
I want our audience to understand how badly I wanted this woman to die. Because we talked about the bad Southern accent of the scientist in War of the Worlds 2. And this is her times like 50. It is so bad. It is. Because I watched this before Jeremiah. And I was like, I texted him, I was like, dude, I can't do it. Like, this voice is so bad. Like, she's not bad to look at, but I can't do this. And he was like, what? And I took a quick video of her talking and sent it to him so that he would be forewarned on what we have bought ourselves into. Because that voice is just, oh my God.
See, and so they're there, they get materials, and she says something like, we took all our shark defenses down because we're just too awesome for it. And then they start doing like a drum line.
Yeah, so they tried to warn them that the sharks are coming, right?
And they're like, that's crazy.
They're like, you're crazy. Like the sharks don't attack in pods, whatever. And they're like, well, at least you guys have the shark nets, right? And she's like, well, no. We took them down so that we could expand, and then we never put them back up. But it's all right. We've been killing sharks for years. We use their oil for lamps or whatever, so it'll be fine. And then
they do a drum line.
The weirdest scene is this like drum line and
mixed with haka. And then for some reason, in this whole time, they get put on a rowboat to get to their boat, but someone else took their boat?
Yeah, so somebody from Salvation, when the sharks were coming, I guess, stole their boat. So like they have their
But it looked like one of the guys who was doing the drum line.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then the sharks, and then they start killing sharks when they attack, and then a lot more sharks come and they all die.
And something blows up, and the sharks blow up Salvation somehow. But yeah,
but they do get like the main communicator guy out of there, and a few other people, and
all the scientists,
and there is a shark that had the worst effect in this movie involves an airplane, a biplane with the floats on it, because it doesn't even look plastic. It looks pure terrible CGI from like Flight Sim 1998, and the shark just kind of like bites it and it goes into the water, and then you see the guy swimming away from the CGI thing in the water, who then quickly dies pretty well. Like I would say, the sharks killing people is pretty awesome. Like it's over the top gory. Sharknado. It's Sharknado, guys. It's just probably the same effects, people.
It's a requirement that any shark movie has to have the sharks eating something out of the sky. It's a requirement.
And it's not like that Shark Beach one where there's like one shark chasing like the swimmers, and they only have one awesome kill at the end. Now this one has much, but no shark looks as good as that one, period, because there's a lot more of them. And I think they built I think they built some of these sets because this is clearly not like something they can just.
Well, you showed me that one screenshot that was very clear that they had a set. Because like that one screenshot that you sent me is the flotilla with the people on it, and then you can see the people in the background that are standing on nothing. So it's really clear that
this was like a pool, a swimming pool.
Yeah.
But at least they built something they're not using like old museums and so on.
No, there was definitely some effort put into this. But yeah, so then we get like the pseudo-scientific explanation that there's like a queen shark who is using ultrasonic waves to control the whole pod, and so they need to stop them. And then I don't understand.
And then they need to deactivate the rocket they're creating to clean the air so they could use another weapon because they don't have enough supplies to do both. And
their plan is to cause some sort
and they have this weird tracker that they're trying to like lure the shark with, and then when they launch the bomb, it'll like do like a 3-mile boom. How deep would that go, though?
The tracker?
No, like the explosion. Because they're trying to do a 3-mile boom, but you can't really like that's not going to go underwater as much as they think.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not going to be like Pacific Rim where that nuke goes off and you have that amazing shot of like suddenly they're all out of the water and you're like, what the heck? We're on the bottom of the ocean. And then all the fish start flapping by and then the water comes back. That is an amazing shot that they cannot. That shot cost more than this entire movie times probably 10. And it's definitely a shot only Del Toro could do that way. They don't have that ambition here. But
yeah, I don't know how far that would travel because the water would definitely deafen it. But what's the word I'm looking for here? Vibration travels faster through water than it does through air. So the blast radius might not be that big because of the water, but the waves that it would cause, and the
sonic boom, essentially.
Yeah, the sonic vibrations in the water would travel roughly 3 times as far.
So if it's 3 miles is what they say on the surface, it'll be probably 9 miles, 10 miles under. Okay.
Yeah, roughly. That's just, back of the napkin math. But yeah, roughly 3 miles. And because the sharks communicate supersonically, that would then mess the sharks up pretty bad. Because that's like the same reason that you have to be careful with using sonar when out on the ocean, because sonar is sound waves, and sound waves can, at a high enough frequency and a strong enough frequency, will kill marine animals. So you have to be careful.
Isn't that why also with sonar you sometimes detect marine animals instead, like you hear whales and stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all sound stuff. And like I said, sound travels way faster underwater and is therefore more deadly. But yeah, so I don't really understand what they were doing to kill the sharks. Like,
pew,
I guess
pew, boom.
Yeah, I guess I don't, because they were like talking about it causing.
I do say I did like the stunt with the hot chick's stunt person on the little parasailer, where she was parasurfing, whatever it's called. We have like the kite thing. That stunt person, that's a real stunt. I liked it.
They had to parasail to save the world.
So that was the hottest chick in this one, I would say.
By far.
But I gotta say, this movie's full of people that look like other people who are better actors, but are not. And like you squint and you're like, oh, look, that looks like no, it's not them.
Yeah.
No, can you explain the ending to me, please? Because I think I might have passed out.
No, I can't. Because suddenly they're in New York. Like,
okay. I did not like sleep. I didn't like go into a coma.
I don't know what happened there.
There's a sequel to this movie called Empire of the Sharks. Why? I don't know.
Yeah, so the movie ends, they blow up the shark, everybody survives, and then the camera like pans out and it shows the top of the statue, like the Statue of Liberty's hand holding the torch. And then like in the background further, you see like the tops of skyscrapers that are buried underwater, submerged underwater. But like, I don't know. I rewound it and rewatched that part, and I still was just like, I don't understand what's happening here at all. So I like, the only thing I can think is that their bomb displaced a ton of water and it happened to be on top of New York. Like, that's the only explanation I can come up with, because it made no sense at all.
Well, I will say this: the sequel. I'm gonna read the description of the sequel. And this aired as part of a lead up to Sharknado Week when one of the Sharknado movies being released. Here's what the sequel is about. On a future Earth where 98% of the Earth's surface is underwater, so this one, a warlord who controls an army of sharks meets his match when he captures the daughter of a mysterious shark caller who must learn to marshal a supernatural ability if she is free her people from the warlord's dominion. So Aquaman with Waterworld, way more Waterworld.
All right. Well, spoiler
with John
alert.
Savage. Has John Savage.
Spoiler alert. We're not spinning the wheel today because we discovered, after having already watched this and we were already planning on recording, we discovered that there was a sequel. So the next video,
which we need to get out of the way. We just need to get these sequels out of the way when we watch these movies. We have some of them we have not yet covered at all.
We tend to do grouped movies together. Like, we did both the Zombies, we did all three.
But we did do Apocalypse Pompeii after 100 Below. We did not do 3-headed, 4-headed, 5-headed, 6-headed Shark Attack.
That's because that's a lot to bite off. Like,
there is lots of biting in there too.
That is true. 5 movies is a lot. We did both Avengers Grimm's. Yeah, so we tend to do that.
But
so we're gonna follow this up with the direct sequel. of Empire of the
Direct
Sharks.
sequel. The reviews for Empire is a little better than Planet of the Sharks. Not by much, honestly. And there's still Mark Atkins writing and directing. He had a co-writer for Planet. He's doing it on his own for Empire.
Not reassuring.
I will say this, the most confusing part of this movie is when the guy who's the captain of the Osprey can't pronounce Osprey, he pronounces it Asprey. And that's hilarious. And don't forget, this movie also had a Oriental character named Hidero Ishiro, played by John Schwartz, who is not remotely Japanese. And they didn't want to change the actor to hire a Japanese actor or change the name of the character, but they gave him an Oriental sword, so you knew he was Japanese.
That makes sense. It's like the opposite of Tomb Invader.
Oh gosh, I forgot we watched that movie.
Anyway, so
I'm going to show them some pictures of this movie real quick.
We haven't shown pictures in a while.
Can you see these? Well, they haven't really had good pictures in a while. So this is one of their sets. This looks like it's made on a pool, kind of cheaply made. Honestly, I wouldn't trust living on any of this, but that's one set.
There's your sharks.
Yes, there's a shark. One of the hotter chicks jumping in the water.
There she is.
That character with the voice of an angel.
Oh my god. The voice of an angel. This is the scene
with the haka drumline thing.
Yeah. Which okay.
Yes.
Electric shark.
Yep.
Yup.
Yeah, the Rambo moment. At least he's kind of holding a bow correctly. I think he might actually have shot a bow before.
Possibly.
And yeah, that great shot. She's pretty much in here just because she survived at the beginning.
But I don't know. She doesn't
really serve a purpose. It was like, is she going to be like a Messiah figure, like from Dune? She could be Muad'Dib, but not.
No.
Is she going to ride a shark instead of a sandworm? It's going to be a shark.
Maybe she's the ancestor of the character that was going to be the main character in Empire.
We'll see. There's a wonderful cover. Honestly, the only thing I don't understand is the one in the background. It's not really that's not what the cities really look like.
Yeah.
But the shark's fine.
Yep.
When the world floods with water, one species rises to the top. No, they go below. Sharks. That's one thing you know when sharks is when they die, they don't float to the surface. They actually sink to the bottom. There's a whole chapter about that in the Mega books where the guy breaks down the science. Like sharks specifically do not float to the surface. So if a megalodon were to actually die, you wouldn't ever see it on the surface of the water because sharks sink always.
Yeah. Sci-fi.
At least this movie didn't have like 3 different titles.
Yeah, right. It's always good.
But it's not good. It's not bad. It's just there.
It's like a lesser Sharknado. Like if you enjoyed the Sharknado movies, you would enjoy this movie.
It is way better than Road Wars was.
Yeah. It doesn't really have any redeeming qualities. The story is bland. It is fun to watch the sharks kill people. I will give it that.
But I will say this. So he's done a lot of movies that we have reviewed and a ton more that we have not yet seen, but we are going to. So it's better than Evil Eyes, better than Halloween Night. That's not very hard, though. It's better than Haunting at Winchester House. Did we see that one? Yeah, we saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that one.
Well, at least we saw something. Better than Road Wars. That's not hard, though.
Last week was another Mark Atkins, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Monster Island is better than this movie, but Monster Island, I got to the end and went, "Oh yes, we're going." Oh, it's done.
Blue Ball's the movie.
I actually wanted the end of that one. It is not as good as that one, but I will say the kills are at least fun. This is the vein of Sharknado, where there are kills that you're going to enjoy, but not really the cameos. You don't have Mark Cuban or Fabio the Pope. Pope Fabio is amazing.
As far as Asylum goes, this is a higher tier Asylum film, but it's not a high tier film. If that sums it up well enough. But
I wanted Nova to show up. The best part of Sharknado movies, Nova. Yeah, she just shows up. I'd be so much happier.
That's true. If we could have gotten a Sharknado cameo in this, that would have been cool. But yeah, so that's Planet of the Sharks.
Robot Tara Reid shows up at the end and blasts away the sharks. We're like, what the heck is going on?
And it's just like goes through a portal and disappears. And you're like, all right.
And if people are wondering what's going on with Don's system, by the way, he's on his phone because his computer died just before doing this. And so we're making do.
Literally, we're like, okay, 8:10, we're going to record. I came up, set up my computer at 8:05, walked out of the room to do something for my wife, came back, and my computer was dead. It just completely crapped itself 5 minutes before we were supposed to record. So I hurriedly downloaded Skype onto my phone so that we could record tonight, so we have something out for you guys this week. But yeah, so that's Planet of the Sharks. Stay tuned for Empire of the Sharks. Next week, it's going to be wonderful. I'm very excited about it, honestly.
Okay. I believe you. Okay, bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.